What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Finn of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs made a surprising announcement on Friday afternoon when it was announced that Joe Thuney, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, is slated to start at left tackle this Saturday versus the Houston Texans. Jeremy Fowler added in, DJ Humphries is healthy, but Thuney, who is a Pro Bowl guard, flourished in tackle and relief of Humphries when he was hurt, so the Chiefs prepared to ride the hot hand. Now, the reason I say this is surprising, some of you may say, Josh, this isn't surprising. Joe Thuney's been their starting left tackle. And a lot of people kind of already figured this would be the case. But friend of the show, Chiefs Blitz, who we know has inside information, hopped on our live earlier this week that I had with Michael Darcy of KC Sports Report, and all but said that the Chiefs were going to give Humphries a shot to be a left tackle at practice this week and that they were going to try him out there. And it was very possible that if if DJ Humphries was healthy and ready to go, that the Chiefs would make him their left tackle, as that was always kind of the plan, and then they would move Joe Thuney back into his natural spot inside at left guard. But I think this came down to a couple of things. Now, I'll tell you why I think this happened and just kind of what led up to this decision being made, because I do believe that the Kansas City Chiefs came into this week wanting to make DJ Humphries their left tackle. That's that offensive line with DJ Humphries at left tackle, Joe Thuney at left guard. That offensive line has the highest ceiling out of all the combinations that the Chiefs have, if you can get a healthy and rust-free DJ Humphries. But this was always going to come down to a couple of things. Who is Patrick Mahomes more comfortable with? And based on all of the context clues that we have, such as DJ Humphries not really being able to stay healthy throughout a game, never really getting to play with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Thuney having played left tackle for the last month or so of the season and not really allowing any sacks and protecting Mahomes, it just kind of felt more likely to me that Patrick Mahomes was going to go to the coaching staff and say, I'm more comfortable with Joe Thuney at left tackle. And if that's what Patrick Mahomes says, you can't really go against that. And I think that was definitely a factor that was at play here, is that Patrick Mahomes let the coaching staff know who he was more comfortable with playing left tackle, and that ultimately ended up being Joe Thuney. And how could it not be? Because this is something that I was screaming from the mountaintops leading up to this decision, and just, every time the discussion came up, should it be DJ Humphries? Should it be Joe Thuney? I always said, well, it's kind of odd that they would just roll DJ Humphries out there as left tackle in the first game of the postseason when he hasn't played left tackle at all with Patrick Mahomes in there. And yes, he did play that last week of the regular season against the Denver Broncos and looked okay, but it wasn't Patrick Mahomes that he was blocking for. He hasn't really built any chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. He hasn't built a rapport with Patrick Mahomes. He also doesn't really have any chemistry with the rest of the offensive line, which I saw as a problem. And furthermore, Joe Thuney, out of all the options we've seen at left tackle so far this season, played the best out of anyone. When you compare him to Wanya Morris, DJ Humphries, and the game and a half that we saw him, all the options that we've seen, Joe Thuney has been the best. He's provided the most stable play at left tackle. And from that standpoint, I didn't want to see this team mess that up. As Jeremy Fowler said in the tweet, the Chiefs are prepared to ride the hot hand. I'm totally in agreement with that. You ride the hot hand here. It was working, so why mess it up? Now, if there's one concern that I do have from this, a downside to Joe Thuney being at left tackle, is I question the Chiefs' ability to run the ball to that left side with Mike Caliendo at left guard instead of Joe Thuney being at left guard. And you're going to have to run the ball in the postseason, especially when it's cold out. It's supposed to be a cold one this weekend at Arrowhead. That's kind of a matchup that scares me. And also, even though Joe Thuney and Mike Caliendo performed fine in the Houston Texans game in the regular season, the Texans have now seen them once, and it feels like they'll be a little bit better prepared for that matchup this time, now that they've seen it once already. And the Chiefs are going to have to game plan some stuff to get the ball out quickly. They're going to have to provide chip help on that left side or something, because this Texans pass rush is no joke. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter had the most sacks of any pass rushing tandem in the NFL this season. And so that scares me. And the Texans are also very good on the back end, despite some injuries and stuff like that. You're going to have to get the ball in your playmakers' hands early. Guys like Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, quick stuff off the line of scrimmage. That's what's going to work in this game and help out your left tackle situation as much as possible. So I'm fully in agreement here with what the Kansas City Chiefs have decided to do, though. Joe Thuney was the best option at left tackle. He's been the best player there so far. He's even exceeded my expectations. He was not a guy that I thought could fill in long-term at left tackle. I thought he was fine in a pinch, but I thought it would get exposed long-term. And so far, it hasn't been exposed yet. So, I mean, you ride the hot hand. That's what you need to do here. And I'm glad they're doing that. You don't want to go out there and roll with an offensive line that has barely played all season, that Patrick Mahomes has no chemistry with. I mean, we talked about the adjustment period there is for offensive tackles when they play with Patrick Mahomes, how Patrick Mahomes has such a unique drop back, and it takes time to get used to that. And it just felt like DJ Humphries did not get enough reps in there. And it's not really something that you can simulate in practice. And I will say this, I wouldn't rule out DJ Humphries at some point maybe being the left tackle in the postseason. But for this game, at least, while the Chiefs try to figure things out, it's going to be Joe Thuney to start. But don't be surprised if the Chiefs get up big in this game at some point. And maybe at sometime in the second half, if they're able to, they take Joe Thuney out and put DJ Humphries back in at left tackle towards the end of the game in garbage time so he can get some reps in there, and so that maybe he's ready to play left tackle at some point later. And I think maybe it doesn't even have to be him getting reps in the game. Maybe he's the left tackle at some point later in this postseason after he's practiced a little bit more, after he's played with Patrick Mahomes a little bit more. Because let's remember, he's still coming off that hamstring injury, in which kept him out for a long time. He wasn't even practicing for like 2 weeks. And that last Denver Broncos game of the regular season, like, I don't know how much stock you can put in that. We just haven't seen DJ Humphries that much. So I wouldn't completely rule out the possibility of him playing left tackle in the postseason at some point. But for this game, all things considered, this was the right move, putting Joe Thuney in at left tackle. I've been impressed with him. I think he can hold it down. And as long as the game plan involved, will be fine. So those are my thoughts on the breaking news that the Kansas City Chiefs are opting to go with Joe Thuney at left tackle. Despite all the smoke this week that DJ Humphries may take over that spot, it's still going to be Joe Thuney. But I want to hear from you guys regarding left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you agree with this decision from the Chiefs? Let me know down in the comments below. Curious to hear from you guys. And with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. You can also follow me on Twitter at showmefb. All that's down in the description below. I will be signing off. I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.